The war in the study. Morning. I entered the study. Chaos. Business cards were strewn across the table. Pens had leapt out of their holder and were reeling around. Blue tack had stuck itself to every available item it might: drawing pins, a pen top, a broken crayon. A notebook lay open, pages crumpled, violated by the glue tubes that lay astride it. A sellotape rolled as if drunk behind a pot plant. What on earth is going on? Silence. Well, I can't work like this. I wake up and everything's a mess. I need to get on with my reports. What the hell? I directed my eye at the business cards with their sophisticated logos and embossed letters. I thought they might feel some sense of responsibility. What are you doing here? Why aren't you in your container? You should know better. An estate agent's card carrying a huge eagle crest replied, Look at our home, see for yourself. I looked at the container where the cards normally rested. It was evident that the cards had been expelled from the container in the desk tidy, a set of 3 conjoined boxes, 2 suited for smaller items and the third for pens. Where the cards had been was now occupied by paper clips, along with 3 bulldog clips and a pencil sharpener. Who did this? The paper clips, the pencil sharpener, and the bulldog clips, replied the estate agent card, who I could see had been torn down the middle and was struggling to maintain composure. We have lost our home, added a second card which bore the logo of an industrial cleaners, but, alas, had been scratched. They have no respect for basic rights, added a third card which came from a legal office and was a little bent. I addressed the paper clips. They were grouped in the container where once the cards had rested. What is this? Look, said one, resplendently dip-coated in pink plastic. They rented to us on a long lease, and now, all of a sudden, they return. They can't just come back like that, making demands. We pay the rent, and it's ours for as long as we pay the rent. We belong here. We've lived here all our lives. We've got rights. The other paperclips started cheering. Our home, our rights, our home, our rights. It might be fine, added a big black bulldog clip, for them to come back if they'd shown some respect. But there's discrimination. They think they're better than us just because they work for fancy companies. And it's us who do the real work here, holding everything together. The second bulldog clip joined in. Yeah, stick it to the man. The third added, white privilege. That's what it is. They're just a bunch of fucking snobs, added an old, rather twisted clip. Now the paperclips began another chant. Fuck the racist business cards. Fuck the racist business cards. I was becoming quite dizzy. The chanting was horrible, and now the clips started to fling whatever they could find at the cards. Staples and pen tops landed on or around them. A card representing my bank manager was badly marked, but there were few serious injuries before I could move the cards to safety. A red, chisel-ended marker then entered the discussion, addressing all the stationery in a loud voice. Look, guys, come on. We've got to learn to get on. We have to get on. Basically, we're all the same. We all serve him, unwaged, 0 hours contracts. We need to unite. We need to get rid of these tiny compartments and boxes and have one big red compartment with equal rights for all and total freedom of movement. Something flickered ever so briefly across the expressions of the stationery, the business cards and paper clips and adhesive rolls and pens and pencils, notepads and glues. But I weighed in, ignoring the personal attack. Look, we tried that, and last time we tried, we all know what happened. All went silent. The cards looked down to the table surface, and the paper clips stopped chanting and rioting, and the Parker pen stood up straight and didn't move. A notebook turned a page, solemnly. I was bringing up the massacre. The massacre, sometimes referred to as Black Tuesday, happened one dark night when I had put the pencils in with the pens and pencil sharpeners in a small cigar box, a terrible naivety on my part, for which I will never forgive myself. I was greeted the next day by the appalling sight of pencil shavings piled high, spilling over the corners of the box, and the sharpeners in a ring, drunk, bragging. The most awful thing about the incident, so the one surviving pencil, now a pathetic stump, had reported, was how the pens had hung about and watched, even cheered, as their brother writing implements were inserted into the cold metal chambers, turned and sliced and shaven to death by horizontal blades of razor steel. Mechanized murder. Sometimes I guess it's the closest relatives who hate each other the most. And that strange dry smell of shavings will never leave me. An inquiry was conducted by an august Canadian fountain pen and an antique Swiss paper knife. Basically, everyone was guilty, from the lowliest Bic to the rubber plant towering above. But most guilty of all was me, for my sheer stupidity in letting it happen. And I know there are those, mainly among the pencils and their allies, the erasers, who think I knew it would happen and arranged the situation, either because I wanted rid of the pencils or because I was set up by the laptop. It isn't so. Please believe me. I had to decide what to do about the current situation. A tension had been bubbling under for months, and I confess, at times, I'd found myself adopting a hang them all mentality and considered dumping everything on a charity shop. Besides, who really needs stationery these days? But I diligently separated the items. Yes, that was sad, a defeat for optimism, for the humanistic imagination. Sad to think, in the 21st century, when we have cracked the genome code, that humble pens and pencils are unable to live together harmoniously. There were protests. The red marker pen started shouting, "Apartheid state! It's an apartheid state!" And some of the pens, mainly the red ones, joined in, scribbling on the post-its various slogans. "Down with the racist state" and "No to segregation," which the black bulldog clips took to waving. But I proceeded nonetheless. I returned the business cards to the desk tidy container. I found another box for the pencil erasers. The paper clips were sent to a slightly chipped china cup. The red marker was exiled to a bookshelf next to Jordan Peterson for correction. The black bulldog clips were locked in the desk drawer. I heard them shout as I turned the lock, "Hey, fascist, they imprisoned Mandela too." "Oh, shut up," I replied, giving the table surface a thump, but a stream of invective continued. "You can imprison the spirit, but the mind is always free. The only prison is fear, and I'm not afraid of you, neo-Nazi. Truth is on the side of the oppressed. Fuck the business cards. Fuck capitalism. The Matches, who, although relatively well behaved on this occasion, had a long history of making incendiary remarks, were sent to the kitchen. Separation isn't entirely practical. And however careful one is, there's always going to be some mixing, and with mixing, some conflict. But at least now that conflict would be contained. I wanted to get at least halfway through a report on vacuum cleaner dust penetration tests. It might be better to do this in the kitchen, I thought, as the voice continued from the drawer. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. I went and made coffee and began my work on the laptop there.